The important part is that Modi Dissanayake take up the regional security issues. The most important statement, as I have told you yesterday also, so continuing on that, that Sri Lankan president is on a 3-day visit that was on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday with India. And the most important part is that he's doing this first maiden visit. Generally, the trend used to be in the South Asia that whoever, for example, if a new prime minister comes in Nepal or a president comes in Maldives, the first foreign visit used to be India. But as we have seen in the recent past that the Maldives president Mohammad Muzu first went to Turkey, and later we know when all these crises came, he took a U-turn and he started with the campaign of India out, and now he is all about please India help, and obviously India did help. Similarly, Prime Minister Oli first foreign visit to China, and he signed the BRI deal. Generally, all these visits used to happen to India. In this context, Sri Lankan president visit coming first visit, foreign visit to India is very important from the point of view of having good and secured neighbors. And an important statement which has come from the Sri Lankan president is that the soil of Sri Lanka will not be used for any security hampering for India. So Sri Lanka would not allow its territory to be used against India's security or regional stability. Now, this is a very important statement in terms of Chinese vessels which dock on the Sri Lankan soil or Sri Lankan ports, and these are not research vessels, these are intelligence or spy vessels. They snoop or they do surveillance on Indian Navy or anything which they can get from the Indian point of view of security. And this was a major issue which India had with Sri Lanka. Now, the last president, Wickremesinghe, he had put a moratorium on this, and same is expected out of Sri Lanka also. Also, we need to understand, as brought by one of the students in the comment section, that our external affairs minister and other important dignitaries, even before the elections was happening in Sri Lanka, they had already established relationship or some kind of meetings with Anura Kumara Dissanayake, and this kind of previous relationship and meeting with the current president of Sri Lanka also helped in today's this meeting and this 3-day international tour or international visit which is happening of Sri Lankan president, because he is already having a established relationship. So this proactiveness which was done by the external affairs ministry or from the Indian government is very welcome. I hope similar kind of initiatives should be taken or could have been taken in Dhaka also, but the issue was very different in terms of because this is the issue which is brought by many geopolitical experts. In Dhaka, the regime which came from the day one, it was very much anti-India. Though Anura Kumara Dissanayake was also very much anti-India. If you go back in the 70s and 80s, and he was part of his party was part of the revolution, which is also called JVP, and he comes from a background of Marxist and Leninist. But in 2023, he spoke about there is a change in his party and thought process. And second important thing, he started talking about proactively about the Tamilian and Sri Lankan Tamilian rights. So there was a positive stand and positive stance which was seen in Anura Kumara Dissanayake, and that is how he got a superb mandate in the Sri Lankan elections. On the other hand, when the turmoil happened in Bangladesh and coming off Muhammad Yunus and all the fraternity or the student which came, it was a major agenda which was against the minority in India. Though the talks with the foreign minister Vikram Misri going there has started, and we also saw that the Bangladesh came together yesterday on celebration of 16 December 1971 when Bangladesh was finally created in terms of Pakistan doing the surrender. So I hope the positive developments on Muhammad Yunus and Bangladesh also happens like Sri Lanka. So on this positive news, the Prime Minister Modi and Sri Lankan President did talk about regional security, economic cooperation, energy projects, and Tamil issue. Sri Lankan President Dissanayake also met the Indian President also, Draupadi Murmu. So President Dissanayake emphasized Sri Lanka will not permit its territory to be used in a way inimical to India's security. This is the most important point, and this gives a lot of security and confidence to India in terms of Sri Lanka when some of the neighbors currently don't look aligned to India's security needs. In this term, this is very good. Statement comes amid India's concerns over Chinese research vessels covered. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri noted that India highlighted maritime security interest. So we had highlighted, see, one is highlighting towards a country and then the country listening towards. So we highlighted our issues to Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka is also listening. Same issue when we went to Bangladesh and we told that, our minority, there's a problem of minority being killed, Bangladesh said this is our internal affairs. Sri Lanka could also have said the same thing, but Sri Lanka said, okay, we understand your problem and we will take care of it, and these are our problems of fishermen, you also take care of it. So this is called a good quid pro quo. This is also called a good diplomatic relationship. This is how countries move forward. So this was wonderfully done. Okay, so offered to assist Sri Lanka, the assurance could influence Sri Lanka's decision regarding its moratorium on all foreign research vessels set to end in January 2026. Now, this international moratorium is ending on January 2026, and that is why India is pushing for the case that this moratorium should be extended. This should be extended so that these Chinese vessels don't dock on the Sri Lankan soil. Asgardian Alexander, Atul Dowry case I've already discussed in detail last week around Friday or Saturday. Alexander, I had discussed this issue. Please go through it, and we have wonderfully covered most of the points related to it. I know that it has there has been an update that the family has been detained, the in-laws and everything, so that you can carry on. But from the point of view of UPSC mains and mains right, we have covered this issue. Please go check the daily decode of Friday and Saturday, you'll get to know. Okay, so coming back on this, okay, so India extended economic support to help Sri Lanka to tackle its economic crisis. India announced conversion of loans into grants. If you remember, when I was covering this news, I told you that India will give some kind of grant, or if the loan will convert it into a grant. Now, loans being converted, for example, if India gave a loan of $20 million, then Sri Lanka had to pay $20 million also and the interest over it. But now, since it is being converted to grant, they don't have to pay anything. Okay, it's like a aid money. Okay, so that is what it has been done. And apart from that, a 20.66 million grant was extended to settle payments for already completed projects, originally funded under a letter of credit. Initially, it was a letter of credit. That means a money as a loan was given, and now it has been converted into a grant. So basically, this is some kind of giving money, because otherwise Sri Lanka has to pay back this money. Why India is doing it? Because currently Sri Lanka is also under the IMF bailout, and there is an economic crisis, energy crisis. So we are also working with energy with Sri Lanka, that how we can help in their energy needs, and we can help them economically. So these are some important things being done. And two important projects where the conversion of loans into grants was done was railway signaling system and Kankesthurai port. On these ones, the loan which was given, now it is in a terms of grant. So this wonderful thing happened, and advanced energy cooperation is being done in terms of energy cooperation apart, including connecting to a common grid, establishing India-Sri Lanka multi-product pipeline with UAE support, facilitating LNG supplies, completing Sampur coal power project. Now, these projects are very important because Sri Lanka had a huge amount of energy crisis. If you remember the crisis which started with the tax and everything, when this Rajapaksa regime was there, all this has started at this point of time. And you remember Rajapaksa and his entire family was running the Sri Lanka, and now that family is entirely out and new person has come. So these are the projects which would be focused on common grid, India-Sri Lanka multi-product pipeline with the UAE, LNG supplies would be done by India so that the energy needs of Sri Lanka can be taken care of. Adani Group's project under review. So this was one thing. A major discussion did not happen on Adani, and Adani project is still under the review of Anurag Dissanayake, the president, because he still has some issues regarding it. So I'm sure that he would be going through it, and the Adani project would be cleared sooner than later. So the visit did not indicate progress on Adani Group projects. The Adani's bid to develop terminal at Colombo Port is expected to continue with internal funding instead of US DFC funding. 500 megawatt wind power project in Manar and Punaran may face delays due to ongoing scrutiny, which is being done by Dissanayake government. Notably, the Adani representatives were also absent from the business representation that India-Sri Lanka Business Forum hosted in Delhi by CIA, FICCI and ASSOCHAM. So I think behind the curtains or multiple visits over a period of time, the Adani issue will also be resolved with Sri Lanka. So that is the one issue which is left. on Tamil issue and fishermen dispute, the Prime Minister did understand, Prime Minister Modi did understand that the Indian fishermen which enter the Sri Lankan waters and violate it, and they said there has to be a humanitarian approach to it, and he did understand the problem of the Sri Lankan president of the Indian fishermen entering it. And one more issue which was brought by the Sri Lankan president is that Indian fishermen should use, curtail the use of bottom trawlers which deplete marine resources. So the bottom trawlers which are used by Indian fishermen should not be used. This was asked by Sri Lankan president towards our side, and I hope steps will be taken in this regard also. India stressed the need for Sri Lanka to fulfill the aspirations of Tamil people, and this is again and again said by Dissanayake. Even during the election he said it, and he said there should be constitutional changes to do it, and I think some of the constitutional changes can be done because the kind of mandate he has got. So let's see, good promises, good relationship building, India putting, their front, Sri Lanka putting their front, good talk. One of the issue, Adani, has not been resolved, but in terms of the most important thing coming out of this visit is that Sri Lankan president deciding his first maiden visit first to India, and second, basically saying that Sri Lankan soil will not be used for Chinese or anything which goes against the Indian security. So very important statements coming, and a good visit, I would say. Okay. And this we have already done, and this is the UPSC mains question. You can go through it. Thank you for watching this video. For complete video, please watch Daily Decodes, and the link to that video is given in the description. And please don't forget to like, share and subscribe the channel, and do press the bell icon for all the updates.